Okay, so the review for the quiz. The quiz is going to look just like this. Part of it will be on graph paper because you can't really graph on Canvas. The rest of it will be typing in Canvas. And we're just going to go through step by step, like what to expect and kind of just review this stuff in general. So when I write my transformations, I always go from left to right in the equation. And whatever I come to first, that's the first one that we do. Can we take care of that in just a moment? Okay. Do you want to sit there?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you can see okay.
Okay.
Anyway, going left to right. So the very first thing that I come to when I go left to right is that negative sign. What you're going to see on the quiz will be you're going to see something like that in the quiz where you will have to type in the correct words. All right? So what does a negative sign do, first of all? I heard it. Say it louder. It reflects. That's a reflection. Remember, we pulled out our pocket absolute value graphs and we pulled out our axis yesterday. And this is a vertical reflection, so up and down, and it's going to reflect in the what axis? X-axis. So you would fill in reflect, and then you would fill in X-axis. I can't control the size of the fill-in blanks, so even if it's just one letter that you're filling in, it gives you like a really big fill-in blank. And then there's a second transformation, that +4. So it's going to look like blank, blank, blank units. Blank, blank, blank units. So you need to know the fancy word, translate. And then we need to remember that if it's on the inside of the absolute value, if it's on the inside, that's horizontal. And those are not common, I ran out of room, sense. If it's on the outside, that's vertical. And that's common sense. So that +4 is that on the inside or the outside? Outside. So where are we translating? Up 4 units. So that's how you're going to fill in those blanks. It's that fancy word, the transformation first, and then where are we translating, and then how far are we translating? We're going to go graph it. What do you guys look at? Oh, we forgot to do our parent function. What do you guys look at when you go to graph it, by the way? The vertex. Let me just graph my parent function. My parent function. When I graph this, I always put a dot at 1010 or -1010 because this should go exactly in the middle. I could use a straight edge to do it, or if I'm not using a straight edge, I just like have a point that it's going to go through. It makes it easier to draw the straight line. Now we're going to take our vertex and we're going to move that vertex. I forgot what it said. Up 4 units. We're going to move that vertex up 4 units. And that's where the vertex is now located. And then which direction does this V shape open? Down. Because of the reflection, it opens down. There's no stretch or no shrink. So where the points were 1 apart horizontally and 1 apart vertically, they still are. It just opens down instead. On the quiz, if you need to use a ruler to make a straight line, I have rulers you can borrow. Hold on. 2 questions at the same time. Do we have to what? Somebody said, do we have to?
Okay, well, my question
was,
what if it's not a straight line? Are we going to point off?
If your points are like, I'll do it over. If your points are like don't look at that one. I'm just going to use that graph real fast. If your points are like, here's my vertex. Oops, one more time. Here's my vertex, and then I've got points like this. That would not be right.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's like you've got your points and then you're just sloppy, as long as it's like close enough, I'm not going to take off points. Okay. But if your points aren't in the right spot,
Yeah.
then you would lose points. Yeah. Yes.
You do know that on here you can make the lines dash, right?
I just am lazy. That was extra. It's easy to do on the computer, but up here, this thing like acts up all the time. So I tend to not use as many buttons up on the board. Good questions. Was there another question? What was your other question, hon? Yes. So exactly what I'm doing right now is what you'll do on the quiz. With the exception of I'm not typing this in right now, but I am showing you what you would type in. So now we're going to do our domain and range. Oh, and by the way, when you turn this in, you will type these in. Okay, so where I'm putting, well, this isn't it, the review. This is the notes, but the review, like you'll open it up and see the boxes. So you can practice typing it in before Friday when we have to do it. I don't want you to like for the first time on the quiz type it in. I want you to get practice first of all. Okay, so domain and range. Domain means left and right. How far does this graph go if we've got arrows? Left and right, how far does it go? It's everything, all real numbers. So we can either write all real numbers. It takes forever. My hand is breaking because that's so much writing. Or you could write the fancy symbol for all real numbers, which is that capital R, but it has the 2 lines on it. Now for Canvas, I will have this in the directions. If you don't want to type all real numbers, which you can, I'll give that as an option. If you don't want to type all real numbers, you could do a capital R without the 2 lines. It has to be capital, but without the 2 lines because that's like not possible on your keyboard. So that would be a way that you could type it in Canvas. So you don't have to type a lot. Range. We're going to look at our Y values. It's pointing down, so I know it goes down forever, but does it go up forever? It goes up to what?
4.
To 4. That's 4 for the Y value. And then from there it goes down. So we're going to say Y is less than equal to 4. That would be our answer. To type it in Canvas, and this will be in the direction section if you forget, to type it in Canvas, you would have to type in Y, and then I'm going to have you type less than, and I'm going to have you type equal 4, because I can't combine it, but it's what I'm saying. Y is less than equal to 4. What I'm saying is just, we can't type it that way. Okay? Yes, if it reflects. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, if that negative is in front, it will always be less than equal to. Exactly. All right, number 2. So I'm going to start out by putting my parent function over here. I forgot to do that on the first one. And if you are working ahead of me because I'm giving all these explanations and I'm answering all these questions so it takes longer, if you're working ahead of me, you could like go and do all your parent functions too. Okay, so we need to write our transformations first. So I'm going to draw the boxes of what you would see on the Canvas quiz, and then we'll fill that in together. Kind of ran out of space for that box, but all the boxes are going to look the same. So we've got blank blank by a factor of blank. What? Oh, I couldn't tell who was talking. I saw a girl. Oh, vertical stretch. Is that what you're saying? That is correct. So what I'm gonna have you think about is 4. Is that on the inside or the outside? Everybody, 4. Is it on the inside or the outside? The absolute value. Outside. Everything outside is vertical. Since we're multiplying by 4, Vertical is common sense. 4 makes things bigger. So vertical stretch. Oh, spelling. Vertical. If you spell it with like a CLE, which some people do by accident, Canvas will mark it wrong. I don't take off for spelling, but then I have to go back in, realize you spelled it wrong, and do your points. In the meantime, it's sitting there with a lower grade in Hack. So maybe learning how to spell vertical would be nice for both of us. Okay.
Well, I just have a spelling in the instructions.
You know what? I usually do. And people still spell it wrong. They just don't take the time.
Because they don't know control.
Well, if you do control, it knocks you out of the what's that thing called? Lockdown browser. Thank you. If you do a control, it'll lock you out of the lockdown browser. So yeah, so don't do that. I understand why, because they don't want you copying something, going into the test and then pasting it. But it's kind of a pain because you accidentally hit it. All right, so we got vertical stretch by a factor of, so what are we multiplying by? 4. Good. And then the second one. Adam. I'm gonna start calling people. Adam, the second number, is that on the inside or the outside?
Inside.
Inside. So is that vertical or horizontal?
Horizontal.
Yep, horizontal. You knew the right way.
Yeah.
Horizontal, is that common sense or not common sense?
Not.
Not common sense. So, Brady, what is the fancy word for this +2 thing? No. The transformation word that goes with the +2. Never mind. I'm going to ask you a different question. What does +2 do?
It makes the what's it called, move up.
So we were just talking. I don't know if you zoned out for a second. We were just talking with Adam. It's a horizontal transformation. So if you say up, that would not be the right thing because it's horizontal, and horizontal is not common sense. So if I see a +2 horizontally, I'm going to probably want to go to the right, but it's not common sense. So where am I going to go?
Left.
I'm going to go to the left. So I'm going to do something to the left, and I'm going to do that for 2 units. That something is the word that I'm looking for. So you were saying go, which is correct, but I'm looking for the mature vocabulary. This is what you're going to have to write on your quiz. Jeff, do you know what it is?
Translate.
Translate.
Are we gonna have to remember this, or is it gonna be on the?
You have to remember it. So when you write it over and over again on that 18-question paper, if you didn't write translate once on that 18-question paper, you need to go back. And then on the 8-question review, you won't have to write it every single time, but you'll write it enough that you should know that word. Okay? Yes.
We're not going to do both the vertical stretch and the transition on every single question, right?
No. It's just going to be mixed up. Okay?
Because
but-
I didn't do vertical stretch for some of them on the.
Oh, on the 18-question one? Yeah. On the 18-question one, we started out with just one transformation. And then at the end, there were some multiple ones. Today, it's all multiple ones. Okay? Yes,
On
honey.
the test, are we gonna have for the vertical stretch? Are we gonna have like the decimal or fraction numbers, like 1/2?
You could be. We got to practice one.
Yeah, we have to have.
We have a practice one on here. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go, sorry. I'm going to go move it. Let's see. Since the translate is just left 2, I'm going to take my vertex and move it left 2. Then we have a vertical stretch by a factor of 4. So vertically, the parent function, has up and down a distance of how much? Currently, between each point, vertically, how far apart are they? 1. The new one is going to be 4. So the horizontal didn't change. So from this middle vertex point, I'm going to go out 1, but I'm going to go up 4 on either side. So we just have like the horizontal's still the same. It's out 1 each time. But vertically, we're now stretching it so it's out 4. I'm going to do another one. So we're going to go out 1 with the horizontal, and we'll be up 4 more on our vertical. Okay?
So is it basically the slope?
Yes, and that was the next thing I was saying, Margot. Thank you for saying that. So the equation has that 4 in front, and when we were doing our name graphs, I did tell you that is the slope, but it's only the slope on the right side. Because for this V shape, there's 2 slopes. There's a negative and a positive slope. So on this side, on the right side, the slope is up 4 over 1. On the left side, it's negative 4. But that is the slope for each side. Okay? And then we need to do domain and range. So domain, Jordan, do you know the domain? Right? All real numbers, or you can write the capital R. And then the range. Lucy, can you help me with the range? What's the lowest this graph goes? 0. And then it goes up from there. So when I say low, I'm talking about the Y values. What can you say about the Ys? They go up. So greater than, equal to the lowest number, 0. Okay. All right, next one. We have multiple transformations. I'm going to start writing the boxes for the transformations. As I'm writing the boxes, I would like you to be filling them in. If you've already worked ahead and already wrote them down, make sure you have the right amount of words. And then I'm also going to graph my parent function while you guys are doing that. Okay, Will. Hi. We're going left to right. What is the first thing that I come to that's a transformation? The negative sign. Do you know what that does for a transformation? So the first word is going to be reflect. In the blank axis, Will, what should I fill in there? Yeah. You guys, we've only talked about reflect in the x-axis so far. So there aren't going to be other ones on the quiz. Not yet. Then we come to +3. We come to the +3 next. So Daisy, I'm going to ask you to help me, please.
It's horizontal,
It is horizontal,
so it's going to be not common sense.
not common sense.
So, translate left.
Translate left. What's the next block?
3 units.
3 units. Perfect. And you guys see here how she worked her way through it. Like the stuff is still possibly new to you. You got to think about all those steps. Okay. All right, Joey, can you help me with the last one? What number are we looking at in the equation now? The 1, okay. Is it on the inside or outside? Okay, so is that horizontal or vertical? Is that common sense or not common sense? Common sense, okay? So we know we're doing something vertical and it's common sense. So where do you think we're going? Up. That's this one. Up. 1 unit. What's the word? Okay, so Daisy just answered the one previous where she was going left 3 units, and these look exactly the same. It's the same word. Okay, so translate. So if you did not know that word, that's something you need to work on. Make yourself some flashcards. Do your work. Repetition is going to commit things to long-term memory. So we're going to, and by the way, long-term memory, we're going to do this with every single chapter. So when we're graphing logarithmic equations later on in the year, logarithmic equations, we're going to be doing transformations, and you're going to be writing translate up 1. Okay? You just don't know what a logarithmic is yet. I will probably make this mistake because I've done it 3 times today. I just wrote my boxes, wrote units, and then I asked you to answer it. Like if I do that on the quiz, it says 1 units. Obviously, it's 1 unit. But I might have that on the quiz. I don't want you to like freak out and go, oh no, there's supposed to be more than 1, but that's 1. You can ask me, but I'm telling you right now, I'll probably make the mistake. I'm a human being who makes mistakes. So don't freak out about that. If you are freaking out about it, you can even be like, Miss Criswell, this was supposed to be a 1, but you wrote units. And I'll be like, oops. Okay. So you can ask me that stuff during a quiz. What's up?
So the boxes are going to be in the quiz, so you just have to fill in reflect, and then
You'll fill in the stuff inside the box. Yeah, there will be boxes on the quiz. And our quiz review is going to be set up the same way, so you can practice it ahead of time. All right, for domain and range. Wait, did I graph this one? I didn't graph this one yet. So I'm going to move my vertex. Yeah, left 3, up 1. Left 3, up 1 for my vertex. 1, 2, 3. What'd you say? Okay, left 3, up 1. I know there's a reflection, so it's going to open down. There's no stretch or shrink. So we're still doing that same pattern of 1 for the slope, where it's horizontal, vertical, 1. And then you can use a straight edge to connect them. Oh, that was erase. All right, the last one. Oh, no, I didn't finish. Domain and range. Justine, what's the domain? All real numbers. Look at that. We've caught on to a pattern. Cameron, can you help me with the range? Oh my gosh, can you like speak up like a little bit? Y is greater than what? Okay, so now I'm going to ask you, what is the highest point that this V shape goes? What's the highest point? 1, because we're talking about the Y's. And then it goes down. So this is going to be a less than equal to. Okay, and then 1 is the number that it is less than or equal to. So this last one, I'm going to draw the boxes. I want you guys to see if you can correctly identify all the transformations on your own. See if you can identify the transformations before I go over it. Work on it. I'm going to just draw the boxes. So you identify the transformations. They go, I'm putting them left to right. All right, I'm walking around and I already see something that I need to mention. It's kind of important. And it's not totally important, it's just a teeny bit important to me. Because I am grading your papers. So here's a couple like things that drive me insane. I see some people whose parent function looks like this. What do you think is driving me insane here? It's like too short. Like you have all this graph and you have straight lines. Utilize that. Don't be lazy. Just like draw the line longer. If it's on paper, I have rulers. You can just like draw it really fast. On Cami, you have a line tool. Like Lucy was saying to me earlier, you can just do dashed lines. And I was like, yeah, I know. Okay, so you can just do dashed lines. That's one thing that drives me insane. Here's the other thing that drives me crazy. Oh shoot, gotta fix it. It's online still, Helen. Okay, here's the other thing that drives me crazy. What might drive me crazy here? Selena, it sounds like you know, but what might drive me crazy here? Does anybody know? Well, it's not that it goes off the graph. I don't care if you keep going. That doesn't drive me crazy. There's something about where it goes off the graph. What do you think?
It has to go in both ends.
Yeah, the parent function goes to the corners, and this person didn't take the time to think about that. They just drew what looks like a V, but to me, this looks like it already has a stretch on it because it's too skinny. It's got to go right through the corner. So again, you use a straight edge to draw that correctly, or at least put the dots in the corner so you have something to connect. That's something a 16, 17-year-old in high school should be able to do, is connect corner to corner. I'm going to fill these in, see how you did. And I'm going to do it because of time, I'm going to do it quickly. The first thing is blank in the blank axis. That is reflect in the x-axis. Then we've got blank, blank by a factor of blank. That's the 1/2. It is common sense because it's vertical. It's on the outside of the absolute value bars. So this is a vertical shrink. It's going to make it less vertical. Again, vertical. Then we've got blank, blank, blank units. That's translate, right, 3 units, and then translate down, 5 units. And then I go to graph it, and I'm going to look at my vertex that is going right 3, down 5. So my vertex is going to go right 3, down 5. That's my new vertex location. I know this as a reflection, so it's going to open down. And then finally, the shrink. I'm going to zoom in just here for a second. Normally, our x's are 1 apart, and our y's are 1 apart. I did not change my x's, so my x's are still 1 apart. But this time my y's are 1/2. So instead of going all the way down to 1, I just go to 1/2. When I go out for my x's, I go down 1/2. I go out 1, I go down 1/2 again. As Margot said earlier, As Margot said earlier, isn't that just the slope? Yes. So instead of going the 1/2 at a time, you could just go down 1/2, down 1/2, and that works as well. You can see it's on the same graph. Oops, it's undashed. I'm not going to take time to change it, but it should be a solid line. Then domain and range. Excuse me. Domain is all real. Then our range, it's going down. So we're going to have y is less than equal to. And then we just have to figure out what the top y value is. And that's -5. So we were going below -5. So one more time, the assignment that goes with this, the quiz review, you will actually type in answers other than the graphs. And you will have multiple times to do it. So if you want to just type in the first one and just make sure you're doing it right, and then type in the second one, make sure you're doing it right. You can type them in one at a time if you want and submit each time. It's the very last submission is the one that counts in your grade. So if you do one like today and then you change it, you got a different score tomorrow, it'll just keep rewriting over that grade. I would not suggest typing in all 8 of them every single time because that's time consuming. Just like type them in a little bit at a time, make sure you write, and then type them all in. Did you have a question for you?
Yeah, do you want to post that or?
No, because I'm still typing it up. But it's due Thursday night, so my goal is to get it posted tonight.
Does that have like 40 retries like last time?
Yeah, it'll have like 50, 60 retries if you need it, but you shouldn't need that many, okay? Yeah,
Are
come here.
we supposed to graph for that assignment?
You will graph just like we did here, and then you'll like upload your graphs. And I'll give you a way to check your graphs. We're supposed to do the graphing calculator to check them. I don't really have time. I mean, we have like 4 minutes, but I'll give you a way to check your graphs. We can talk about that on block day.